the Special Moves podcast. I don't know what episode this is. My name's Mike Williams. These guys are Jake Lukowski and Liam McKelvey on a new schedule, would you believe?
Mm-hmm. Because we could just call it Special Moves Podcast 1 now, if we wanted to.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Let's just be like Doom and all them other ones.
Yeah, soft reboot.
Special Moves. With this, welcome to Special Moves, isn't it? That's what this is. Yeah, we kind of we were back last week on the in our old slot, as it now is, of Monday. Now we're going to be at the end of the week, so we're going to record podcasts sort of midweek, and then they'll be out later in the week, and we're going to do a weekly bonus Patreon podcast, which is a little bit shorter. So instead of a longer podcast, which is pretty infrequent, it was irregular, I suppose you'd say. Like, it was supposed to be every couple of weeks, but if you miss one, then it'd be 3 weeks, and it was all a bit messy. So we're going to have every time we sit down to record a podcast, we're going to have a short bonus podcast that follows for everyone who supports us on Patreon, starting with this week. So look out for that if you're a Patreon supporter. I've been playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima. What have you guys been up to this week?
Well, I've been playing Amazon's new world, but I'm on this electoral life-ruining NDA. Like, because you know how much Amazon have got power over everything?
Yeah. I'm imagining like a James Gandolfini kind of, like, I'm imagining, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of garbage trucks at my house, outside my house, doing a lot of, But so I've been really like anticipating New World, which launches in August. There's a beta that is publicly available for pre-orders. Like, if you pre-order the game, you can access the beta in July. But they've got a series of like play tests, kind of like proper alphas, ongoing, and that's been happening since the play test. And I spoke with Amazon and got a key, which is great news for me, because I've been anticipating it, and now I can be quiet about it and stuff, and not have to like keep going, oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And I can see all of the changes that they have implemented between the playtest, because they've been doing it literally like every 3 weeks. They've been doing updates, and they've been adding weapons and stuff like that. This is all publicly available information, of course. And so all of this information is now at my hands, and I'm not allowed to talk to anybody about it. And it's so strict. I don't even know anyone else who has it that I can't even like DM about. Do you know what I mean? And I can't be going around saying. So yeah. So
it's so strict, in fact, that everything you've just said, you're actually dead by the time this goes out. Like you've already been destroyed.
Well, again, so I'm going to do what every other YouTuber that is clearly trying to milk the Amazon New World Alpha as much as possible. Keep referring to things that I have clearly seen as, and apparently in the patch notes they refer to. Have a look. Shouts out to Sir Gaming, Force Gaming, White Man with Beard Gaming, who would keep going. And guys,
is that a real one?
What, Force Gaming? Sir Gaming.
White Man with Beard Gaming.
Nah, maybe I'll start one in it. They keep making videos saying stuff like, oh, it's been a great week on the Amazon Alpha, according to the patch notes, where we can see here that hammer damage has been reduced from 17.5 to 16.5. Now, I can imagine that would be a really big difference. And if you were killing a boss, that's what they're doing. It's actually really weird. I don't know how they're getting away with it, but they're all talking like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's very allegedly. So I'll talk a little bit later about Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town, which came out on the Nintendo Switch. But I've also been playing another game on the Switch, which is Monster Hunter Rise.
Yeah.
Although not as much as Liam. Liam, I believe you've been playing a bit more. Is that right?
That's the only game I've played this week. Not even a lot of it. Monster Hunter is very good. I'm having a really good time with it. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I am actually liking it. I've had a pretty great time with it so far. I think I'm about, I want to say, halfway through the story stuff. I haven't got into any of the end game stuff yet. I know there's like people who've already smashed it and are like grinding out the top rated gear sets and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm having a really good time. At first, I wasn't sure, because they said it was coming to PC sometime next year. And I was thinking, I'll just wait. I've got plenty of games to play in the meantime. But then I decided to pick it up, and I'm really glad I did. because it's really fun. It's sort of a hybrid of Monster Hunter World and the older Monster Hunter games. So it's like this blend of new and old, and it's got pretty much all the quality of life changes from Monster Hunter World, but keeps some of like the old school style, I guess, which is hard to explain if you've never played any games before Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a brand new installment. It's exclusive to the Switch at the minute. It's set in a new location, which is very heavily inspired by like Southeast Asia and Japan and that sort of region. There's lots of like kimonos and cherry blossom trees everywhere. And it's just great. Like, so the game is, I guess it's split into two parts really. There's the village quests, which is sort of like your story mode type bit. And then you can only do that solo though. You can't do those multiplayer. And then there's the gathering hub quests, that's the multiplayer stuff. That's the stuff you can do in co-op. You can team up with your friends. And that's sort of like the stuff you're meant to do as a team. But then, there's the village stuff, which is all solo. Like, in terms of, like, new features to the game, there's the Palamute, who is your canine buddy. He is, like, just sort of like a party member, really. He helps you attack during hunts. You can ride them around to get around the map really quickly, like a mount. You can climb all the environments, because they've put a lot of... I forgot what I'm saying. Yeah, they've put a lot of emphasis on climbing and stuff this time round.
Yeah.
There's a lot of verticality in it compared to the other Monster Hunter games, and that's mainly because of the wire bug, which is sort of like a little grapple hook, I guess, where you can either use it to zip around the environment, pull off move, spin ahead, dash to extended dash dodges. Or you can use it for something called silkbind attacks, which every weapon in the game has a unique attack, which you activate by pressing Z, L, and X on the Switch. And it's just it's like a little gauge at the bottom that's on like a constant cooldown. But yeah, so each weapon has a different one of them. Silkbind attack. I'm trying to think what else is actually new in it, but it's all a bit overwhelming at first.
Yeah.
Just you do get.
I was going to ask about that because you said earlier it's not really clear what the difference is between this and the older Monster Hunters and stuff. If obviously if you've never played the series, how kind of palatable is it? How easy is it to get into if you just never touched any of Monster Hunter before?
I would say it's actually really easy to get into compared to other Monster Hunter games. But I have seen some people online saying it is a bit overwhelming. And to be fair, I can see that because it throws so many tutorials at you in the beginning. Tooltips everywhere. You open a menu, there's a tutorial. Then you go to the next page of the menu, another tutorial thing pops up. So it can be a bit overwhelming. But the game it eases you into it nicely, I think. A lot, it gradually builds up to the more difficult hunts, whereas sometimes you could hit a bit of a brick wall of difficulty in the older Monster Hunter games. Right. But in this one, it eases you in, starts you with some easy stuff, slowly builds you up, and then, because you climb the rankings, you go from 1-star quests to 2-star, 3-star, all the way up to 7, gradually getting harder as it goes along. But it's as a newcomer, I think it'd be quite easy to get into. If you've only played Monster Hunter World, I think you'll be right at home with Rise. But if it is your first Monster Hunter game, might be a bit overwhelming for you, but stick with it if it is, because it is really good. But it's got a weirdly wholesome vibe to it, Monster Hunter Rise, where something about the setting and the characters, everyone's always smiling in it. It's not like you play other RPGs and it's you're the chosen one, you've got to save the world from the dark calamity before the crystals explode. That might just be because I've been playing Bravely Default 2 and that is literally the plot of that game. Right. Yeah, but Monster Hunter, everyone's hey, a hunter, how are you? Come sit down, have some fluffy bunny dango, which is
That really happens a lot.
That does happen a lot. Which is the food you can sit down at the canteen and you can pick a chance of getting a buff before going into a hunt. And even that has like a little jingle. Whenever you eat that, it has a jingle with Palico cats just cooking and making stuff out of like just sweets. It's weirdly wholesome, and it made me happy.
It's so funny how mad this sounds to somebody who just hasn't got a clue. It's like Monster Hunter is the meaning of a cult classic in a sense. You know, like maybe draw a line on the word cult, because it's like if you're like uninitiated to like what it is, it sounds ridiculous. It's so overwhelming. Yeah, it is like playing an MMO offline, especially now that they've got these like 4 single player missions. Something like in an MMO, to give it like longevity, they have like loads and loads and loads and loads of systems on systems on systems, because you know you're often supposed to master one or whatever. Well, I feel like that's a bit like that with flipping Monster Hunter. Like you can spend your whole run mastering one weapon, and you're still not going to know how to use it as good as the next. Absolutely. I tried the long sword, which is like the first weapon the game gives you, from what I remember, and I just couldn't get around it. I'm playing it on the Joy-Cons, and so it's the first game I think since Mario Party to make me put my Switch in docked mode. I actually played the Switch on the telly with sound on as well. Oh yeah, and I tell you what, right?
You're usually a mute gamer, right? You're playing stuff on Switch.
Yeah, for my sins. Yeah. You know, the classics like Binding of Isaac, you don't mind, do you? But when you're playing stuff like Cuphead, it's not doing it any justice. So yeah, I like to have it on handheld and no sound. It reminds me of playing like your Game Boy when I was like 9 or something. But you know, the game, and it's not just because I'm playing it on the telly, even on handheld, it looks ace. The graphics really does, are like so good. Like, it doesn't look like a AAA game ported to the Switch, does it, Liam? It looks like
it looks like a game actually made with the Switch in mind. Not like when you see them trying to port Doom or The Witcher over, where it's obviously struggling to get through it. But yeah, it's really good. Like I've played it, I think honestly mostly handheld at this point. I've just been playing it like before bed and stuff. And it works well, surprisingly, in handheld. It's not like the old days playing Monster Hunter Freedom on the PSP. We had to claw your hands around the PSP.
Claw hand isn't a thing, is it? Yeah. Exactly.
You can. What is that, by the way? Like, how you show me what you're talking about?
The claw hand is when you're so you play a game like this. So for people who are listening on our many audio platform listeners, I'm going to try and talk my way through this. Okay. So you know, you would normally play with your sort of thumbs up, wouldn't you? Thumbs towards the ceiling if you were holding your controller, and you would use your thumb on your right hand to press all of the face buttons, correct? Triangle, circle, X, and square. With the claw technique, you kind of establish a pattern wherein you use your thumb on the right joystick, which is the camera control.
I've got a PSP here.
That's it. And then you use the arc or the arch of your index finger to control triangle and circle. I played Bloodborne like that. That's why I finished Bloodborne.
This is like the claw grip.
Because you need to
demonstration.
You need to constantly, and on a handheld console, nonetheless.
Original PSP as well.
But let me tell you something. You have no lock on this. You have a button that you press. It just kind of centers the camera on the menu.
It's like a soft lock but you have to recenter all the time.
What is the most frustrating thing about this game? It actually is there. It's right there. The button that you use that you have to constantly tap to reset. Imagine there's a giant monster in front of you and it jumps over your head. You tap the left bumper or whatever, and then the camera changes. Then the monster moves left. You have to tap it again. Anytime that monster does anything, and bear in mind, it's a feral beast, you have to keep pressing the left bumper. However, don't you make the stupid mistake of holding that button for any more than a second, because what will happen then is it pops open a radial menu, which makes your character completely freeze, but not the feral beast. And then it just fucking clarts you. So there's the amount of times where something's jumped over my head. I've gone to lock on. I've accidentally opened some stupid like emote menu or whatever, and then got tail whipped into the bloody cart.
Yep.
Like that's happened like 2 or 3 times, and I haven't been playing it very long.
That's probably part of what makes it so. The controls, they aren't exactly intuitive, or it's not going to win any awards for controller design or anything.
Yeah, it's just
That's why
unrelentless.
That's why you play dual blades like I do, so you can just mash buttons and spin around in a tornado without ever having to know where you are in front of the monster.
Yeah,
you're just spinning around constantly.
Spin around, yeah.
But yeah, it's like I'm having it. Monster Hunter Rise. It is great. It deserves all the praise it's getting. It's got really high reviews.
Oh yeah.
I think Capcom said it's already sold 4 million copies in 3 days.
Whoa!
And that's just on the Switch. So it's obviously doing something right. And
that's actually really impressive. But I feel like that people are kind of starved of it in some way. You know, there is a good supply of games coming onto the Switch, but I don't know what it is about it. This just feels like a big kind of meaty thing.
No pun intended, I'm sure.
Yeah. But that appeals to everyone, not just anime fans. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not like a Pokemon thing that has its niche, and you either like it or you don't. I reckon people would just think, "What's this? Monster Hunter? Yeah, all right, I'll give it a spin." You know what I mean? It's got that kind of appeal to it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of, and it's not it's not Mario, and it's not.
Well,
it's kind of got this like appeal to it that I think a lot of like Switch owners would be really hungry for.
I don't want to say this word, but I can't think of a better word. But it's some people have the Switch, especially people that have the Switch for indies and retro ports. They probably would say that some of those games are a bit childish. They wouldn't want to play Mario again or whatever now that they're 35 or whatever. But so it's got more of like a grown-up appeal, dare I say. Whereas all the other grown-up games like Doom and Witcher, like Leo mentioned a minute ago, are like shoddy ports, to put it lightly. What's funny and what continues to just like really confuse me is it is so successful. And you're saying there, Mike, like, oh, people will see it and they'll be like, oh, yeah. To me, it's like it's fucking niche as hell. I think Monster.
Yeah, it is. Sure. It is, but it is. But I think it has. I think just as a
concept,
exactly, and it's like action based. You can you press the button and he fucking swings a sword, or it's like really. It doesn't have like that JRPG barrier of like, oh, I don't like JRPGs because it's kind of its own. Yeah. Whatever Monster Hunter is, it's kind of a unique.
It's a genre in itself, really.
It is.
The amount of Monster Hunter clones out there is ridiculous.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, I just looked now as well. It's 87 on Metacritic for anyone that didn't know. And well earned.
Like Mike was saying though, how many Switch exclusives have there actually been lately as well? Like,
yeah.
So
apart from JRPGs,
that's what I mean.
Well, even the last Mario game was just a port of a Wii U game. So, this is like the first proper meaty Switch exclusive game of 2021, I guess. Like, because I can't remember the last time the Switch had a really great exclusive on it. From it's not even first party though. It's from Capcom, so it's third party.
But that's what's even more interesting. I guess it's a Japan thing. But we got Breath of the Wild this year, which will be. That'll do, insane numbers, sure. Right? That's probably going to be the biggest. And you know what? If they cheek it, I don't really want to feed into it too much, but why fucking not in it? If they do release this other Switch that everyone reckons is on the way, and the patents and all this come through, and if Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be better on that, Breath of the Wild will yet again be a system seller. And that'll be almost poetic. So as poetic as capitalism can be, anyway.
The only, it's not even a downside really. It's just personal preference. The only thing I'm not too hot on in Monster Hunter Rise is the new Rampage missions, which are basically just tower defense, where you put your placements down. You have to fend off a wave of monsters. You upgrade your stronghold. Better strongholds. You can put down better emplacements. It reminds me of the missions in Monster Hunter World where you had I forget his name, the Zora Magdos or whatever.
Zora Magdos, yeah, something like
when there was every so often missions where you were in like a giant canyon and you had to stop him advancing with emplacements and stuff. They weren't really great there, and making it into tower defense, I don't think has really made them any more entertaining. But they're not bad. It's just personal preference on my part.
Yeah.
But other than that, I do think Rise is a very, very good game, and I can't wait to sink another 40 odd hours into it. I've only played for like 10 or 12 at the minute, but yeah, I'm having a great time.
So that's Monster Hunter Rise. Mike, I'll say it on your behalf, I suppose. You are still afflicted with COVID.
Yeah, sorry. If anyone watching is wondering what on earth this kind of medicinal looking orange substance I'm drinking
medicinal is a very diplomatic way of describing what that looks like.
It's old fashioned Lucozade. I'm kind of going out of breath all the time, and I've been really trying my best not to like fall asleep and stuff at any given moment today.
Yeah. Lucozade is the magical cure-all in the UK.
Do you know?
Best thing ever. It's the best.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that has universal. Like my 9 and my mum will just say, "Have some Lucozade," and it's not just like a, it's kind of across generations. So yeah,
do you know what?
A hell of a marketing campaign if no one from the UK believes in that.
Brought to you by our friends at Lucozade for the next Special Moves podcast.
Do you know what? In my family, it was Diet Lemonade. It was like the magical cure-all for any ailment you had.
My mum used to say that it settles your stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ginger beer in our house, but Lucozade was the one, and it was like break glass in case of emergency. So like when you're ill, you can have Lucozade. So now I'm yamming down a bloody tropical crush Lucozade like it's nothing, and I've given myself too much of a tolerance to its medicinal qualities. So you played Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah, so I've actually finished it. So I've been playing it for probably weeks, I'd say, at this point. Everybody knows what Ghost of Tsushima is. It's been in the news quite a bit recently with various things. Had a patch for the PS5 version, so I've been playing on that patch on PS5, and it's been amazing, 60 FPS and all that sort of stuff. There's a movie on the way, which is
from the John Wick team.
Fine, cool. I'll watch that probably, but it's really good, really, really enjoyable, and I think to begin with, I just came off it completely. I hated the idea of a Kurosawa mode. I just didn't like what it was trying to do. People were saying it was the best looking game ever, and I just thought it wasn't. Like technically, the just really basic thing of the faces and things just wasn't as good as, like, I don't know, Horizon Zero Dawn even, or The Last of Us Part 2 and things. It would just have this amazing kind of facial capture stuff that just looks incredible, great, whatever. But having given it another shot and played through it, I think it probably is one of the most kind of beautifully directed games, especially open world games, because it's really, I think it's hell of an achievement to make an open world map that kind of looks really good all the time. And I don't just mean looks good. It looks like it's been composed all the time. Like if you just kind of, when you're riding from A to B on horseback in a mission, they have obviously gone to great effort to make it look fucking amazing from A to B, no matter which way you point the camera. And they've done lots of little tricks where, the sun or the moon is really low in the sky often, so it's like black. The light's like blasting through the trees and stuff. And they've really not been afraid to make it, stylistic as opposed to realistic, which I think is. It's taken me months to realize that's why it was getting the praise that it was getting, was because perhaps it isn't as realistic looking as The Last of Us Part 2, but fucking hell, it is more artistically kind of, it's beautiful, it's really, really nice. And, I enjoyed it all the way through, and I've actually finished it and kept it on my PlayStation, which isn't usually what I do. If I finish a game, especially an open world game like that, which while playing Ghost of Tsushima, I have thought, fucking hell, can this just end now, please? Because it's been going on too long. I usually will just delete it straight away, especially if I've had those kind of thoughts while playing it. But I've kept it on there because I want to go back and just keep dipping in and out. Yeah, but not even. I don't even want to smash it. I want to just like leave it on there, like I leave Destiny on there or The Division on there, just to like dip in and out of sometimes. I think that's what I'm going to do, and mop up really slowly. I think it's a great game. I think the story beats sometimes are a little bit like, I don't know. It's hard to say without giving spoilers, but there's some moments in the story where it's like, we have no other choice. And you're like, well, yeah, you fucking do, mate. Because I have just slaughtered about 400 Mongols in the last 2 hours of playing it. This is not a problem. You fucking got this. By the end of it, you're like Batman. Like you're the Batman of Tsushima, right? And you're like all this. You become a myth. You become the ghost of Tsushima, which is cool. It's fine. It's that's what they've chosen to do with it. They've made it a bit kind of comic booky as a character, but that's. And the armor that you get as well is very. It's like
I was going to say that when I played, like I love stealth in games, and you guys know that. Any opportunity to do a stealth run, I will. And this was like kind of this like, you need to betray your samurai roots and take on the dirty shinobi skills. And I was like, no, I don't. No, do I? Because I can just fucking have them. Like I've got a platinum on Sekiro. I'll do what I fucking want. Yeah. I go in there, and now I'm just some twat in literally like a cobalt blue suit of armor. There's nothing ghostly about me. I'm like the fucking peacock of Tsushima, man. Riding on with me fucking massive armor, and I'm like, boys, I'm the most flamboyant guy. Yeah. But that's the thing.
The queen of Tsushima.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. RuPaul's best friend race sort of thing. So I've got that was my only issue with it, because I was playing it and I don't know if I was just having a really nice time. I don't know what. I don't know. The sun was out. I don't know. But I was playing it and I was loving it. And I remember then Liam, who's normally got a bit more of a level head than me, because I'm uppers and downers. I either love something or I hate it. And Liam was like, it's pretty average. And I was like, shit. All right, well, he's probably more right. So then I thought, all right, cool. So then I'm playing it again. And everything that was coming up, I was like, yeah. I just thought, like, my issue with it was that I did all the side quests in the first area. So when I moved to the second area, I was one-shotting people basically, because you can chain up like the super duper kill attacks.
Yeah,
you can basically walk into their thing, put your arms up like Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, kill 6 of them in a row, and then as long as you're changing your stances, you're overpowered, right, Mike?
Yeah.
When you were playing, did you use more stealth or did you go for like the way of the samurai?
A bit of both, really. But a part of that, you said changing your stances. The stances that are like melee stances, which are better against shields, spears, swords, whatever. It is. They're really, really effective, and you can spec yourself so that you can have like equipped things that give you stat boosts called charms, and so you can make yourself a really deadly like melee kind of fighter really easily, or you can make yourself a kind of more stealth-oriented character. But really, it's just a mix of stuff, whatever the hell I fancy doing at the time. Sometimes I would just like sneak around, but you do get armor and stuff by the end. By the very end of the game, it's kind of ridiculous. You're just kind of, it's like a lightsaber. You're just slashing through them for fun, really. And so, which is why I was mentioning with the story, there's always that conversation in games, especially I've done it myself loads, where you talk about Uncharted and Naughty Dog games and stuff where, the gameplay doesn't sit with the story for whatever reason. But here with Ghost of Tsushima, it's like that happens because the game makes you so powerful, but the story is like you're
outnumbered like 100 to 1. Yeah,
and especially when it's like bringing in your allies and your friends and stuff like that. You're just kind of constantly sitting there going, "It's not a big deal, man. Just go in there. Open.
There's only 50 of them.
There's only 50 of them. It's like that. It's that kind of thing, which is, and it just kind of, I think. But even to have those conversations, and even when you're talking like that about, when you're being a prick like I am, and talking about Uncharted and stuff, just wanting games to like take that extra step is a compliment. I think if you're looking at Ghost of Tsushima and thinking this is good and I'm really enjoying it, but it would be better if this or if that. I think it's ultimately a compliment to say that you're kind of. It's so close to being a great thing, but there's just those story beats and that massive open world that just doesn't need to be there. There's 3 big areas on the island, and you hit the third one. I mean, by the end of the second area, it's a fucking long game. You can finish it there, and you think, that is an open world game. But you finish the second area, and there's a third area. You're like, oh, okay, I'll do all these camps and stuff, and I'll climb to the top of the lighthouses and whatever the hell else you want me to do. I think. Do you know what though? I think it's a more successful Assassin's Creed game than Assassin's Creed is now,
right?
Because Assassin's Creed is such an RPG now, where it's just it's kind of a there's all these item drops and leveling up your character in a much more kind of RPG kind of way. I think Ghost of Tsushima is a bit more contained when it comes to items and leveling up and shit. And I think and the combat is so fucking the combat in Ghost of Tsushima is really good, really like fast and vicious and very much like you would think of an assassin, fighting and sneaking around and stuff. But it doesn't have these big numbers and health bars and stuff like that. Which you can. By the way, there's one. If you've not played Ghost of Tsushima, one thing I would suggest is you stagger the enemies when you're fighting them, and then when you stagger, you kind of break their guard, and you beat them up. I would take that off the HUD. I did that pretty early on, and because you don't need it. It's so obvious when you've managed to stagger the enemy. It makes a huge difference, I think, to the overall, immersive thing of the game.
Unlike
Get rid of the fucking
Kurosawa mode, which adds absolutely nothing to the game.
Yeah.
that was a fucking miss.
It was
a swing and a miss.
Because the game is so good looking in its own right, and they've done such an amazing job, and making sure that you're always riding through something really interesting. They've really done their best to make it seem like a painting wherever you're going. They didn't need to do that, I don't think. But yeah, good. It's a good game, but games don't need to be 40 hours long, I don't think. And
well,
and tell that to Ubisoft.
Yeah, exactly. But to have a combat that is that fun and a world that is that amazing, and some of the stories, some of the side quests and stuff are really good. Like some of the voice acting and shit, some of the writing. There's a couple of real heartbreakers in there, and I don't get with games anyway. I don't really get emotionally invested in video games too much usually, because when video games try and get you emotionally invested, usually it's like Naughty Dog. It's like you're going to cry at this dog.
Exactly.
When you
kill him. Yeah. Exactly.
But there's some really nice moments in the side quests and shit. So yeah, cool. That's what I've been doing. It's a good game.
Death Stranding next, yeah.
How open world is that?
Kind of like the real world in the sense that it is massive, but you don't really give a shit about 90% of it.
Yeah.
When I'm driving to your house with Liam, we don't go all around the houses, do we? We just pick an A to B route, and we basically get there as short a time as possible. That's what it is. You basically, you use your brain as a sat nav, innit? And you're using, it's orienteering rather than explore the whole map. You don't give a fuck about that. It's good.
It is a world that is open, but it's not an open world, if that makes sense.
I hate to keep banging on about it, but that's kind of what I mean. Ghost of Tsushima has when I say open world, there's a recognized set of things that happen in an open world game.
Right, this is it. Yeah,
there's Far Cry 3, Assassin's Creed.
Exactly.
2, yeah. Maybe you'd say I don't know.
There's no bandit camps. There's no towers you have to climb.
It's like
unless you want to build for towers and climb them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think you'd respect it in that way.
Yeah,
and do you know the funny thing is, you could go around exploring the world if you wanted to and looking at all the moss on the rocks, and it's all nice and whatnot. But it doesn't really tell you to do that. There's no point in the game where it's go and patrol on the local volcanic ash, know. So maybe that's next for you on the PlayStation World Tour.
That must be such a different game by now, because of all the multiplayer stuff with people building roads and stuff.
In it, yeah. Me and Liam played it straight away, right? Yeah. So it was...
We were the frontiersmen.
Frontiersman, exactly that. Yeah, I was going to say of the New World, but I signed an NDA, so I've got to be very careful.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I've been playing Story of Seasons as well as New World, and I've been playing a bit of Disco Elysium. I feel like everybody who follows me on Twitter will know that, of course, I'm very closely connected to the game, though. Yeah. As it's basically, I've been leading the sort of PR efforts for it on a global level. But I can say this wholeheartedly, truthfully. If you don't know what Disco Elysium is, it's worth a Google, because all the problems that Mike just says then about, when games are emotional and do you know what? Even by calling Disco Elysium clever, it's doing it a disservice, because you're going to go in there thinking, so it's a game that's trying to be clever. It's not Pillars of Eternity clever. It's not. It's actually fucking clever. Like, it's worth a go. So I've been playing the Final Cut, which is essentially the game again. They've got these new changes that are all the way through, so nothing really like very obvious. Like, it's not like just a whole new world or whatever. And the whole game is voice acted now, which wasn't a really big issue for me anyway. So I've been playing it again, but kind of slowing down off it already. And I'm also, like I say, because I'm working with it, it's just fucking one note. Disco Elysium's taking over my life. So I retreated to the farm of Olive Town on the Nintendo Switch. I just want to say that I was provided a review code of this a month ago by Marvelous Entertainment, who are the publishers of the game. So I said I would let people know that. Not that it's going to change how I feel about the game whatsoever, but just for complete transparency, I was given a code for this. And I've had the opportunity to play it for just over a month, which is incredibly generous. Now, if you don't know anything about like what it's like to get an early copy of a game, on average, it's about 4 days before launch. So to have over a month with a game is just brilliant. So Story of Seasons, in case you don't know what it is like Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, basically, in 3D. The original Harvest Moon, and then it had to change its name because of some sort of like weird legal thing. But there's been a couple of entries over the past couple of years that have been like reimaginings of older versions of the game in a Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu type thing, where that was Pokemon Red, but kind of a remix. This is actually all new, made for the Switch, a Switch exclusive, I guess you'd say. Yeah. So it's I guess it's like Monster Hunter. It's its own thing as well. The farm sim. People all know it from Stardew Valley, right? And Stardew Valley took it from this. This is a bit more of a, it looks a little bit more like chibi, I guess. Looks a bit like some sort of amiibo kind of figure looking things, and it is just your classic setup of like you go to a town because your grandfather left you a farm, even down to these little things. Like, these tropes are all still there. They don't shy away from it. But they've took a lot of inspiration, and I'm actually quite surprised at how they've managed to fit all this in. Bear in mind that we've recently only celebrated the first anniversary of Animal Crossing, but they've taken a lot of inspiration from the latest Animal Crossing in the sense that they've kind of gated areas of the farm off immediately, so you're not sort of overwhelmed. In the sense that in Animal Crossing, you have to collect enough wood to build a bridge for Tom Nook, and then you can get your little thing that jumps over rivers. Well, in this, it's a bit like that. You've got your farm, but you need to repair the bridge with rocks and things like that. And Ellie, who's my 9-year-old daughter, she was playing Friends of Mineral Town, which is the older one that came out on the Switch, just a remake of a GBA one. So she's been playing it as well, right? We've both got it. And it's got this great mode for kids. It's got like basically an easy mode. So I think it cost me like 150 wood and 100 stone to repair the bridge. And it cost her something like 40. So she was progressing faster than me. So she was showing me stuff, which was a really cool thing that I guess is, I don't know, not unique to me, but it's like if you're playing it with a partner who's maybe not like a gamer or a kid or whatever, it's cool that you can do that sort of thing. You can visit each other's towns. I think when we were playing it, the servers were off, so we couldn't visit each other. And from what I know, I might be wrong, but I don't think there's local play. I'm pretty sure we had to connect via the servers. Anyway, Olive Town is your town, and a bit like Animal Crossing, And Liam, you might be able to tell me, but I from what I understand, this is a new feature. Maybe you don't know, but you can get shops there. You know, like Animal Crossing, you get villagers that join when you've got like a certain level of prestige.
Yeah.
But as you make reparations to the town, using like, speak to the mayor and fix the flooring of the town and do all this, you get new shops. So you get a hairdresser and stuff like that. I don't know if that was part of the original thing, but
I think that's a classic Harvest Moon like gameplay design thing. If I remember right, because I remember playing Harvest Moon 64, and I think that was the same, where as you like grew favour with the town, new things would start appearing, and different vendors and different like cosmetic things would come into town every so often. So I think it's like a tried and true formula.
Right. Yeah. So like the sort of visitors coming through on random days that you see in Animal Crossing and the classic house and stuff, that's there. But so Ellie, obviously, as a 9-year-old girl, like character creation screen is like the best part of any game for her. So I told her, if you do up your town, you can open a salon and then you can get even more clothes and you can So that was like the carrot on the stick. So whilst I was trying to get my farm expanded and get like a bunch of cows and build sprinklers and go to the mines, she was basically just focused on so it's funny because we were like a little publication. She was burning that half of the game and I was burning so we could talk about it on the podcast. But that was a month ago. so I forgot half of it. But I had a really nice time with it. I've got to tell you that the progress, much like an MMO, was very... it felt slow and a little bit too slow, I would say. Yeah. My most played game over the last year and a half has been Stardew Valley. And I've been playing it with Ellie. It's like the thing. Every night before bed, we play a bit of Stardew. And I love that the animation for mining or hoeing or pulling out fruit from the ground is hoeing, isn't it? When you're hoeing the ground.
Hoeing the ground.
Yeah.
Tilling the soil.
Tilling the soil, isn't it? Hoeing the ground. Yeah.
Just checking.
Okay, yeah. I am rich on the game, fam. Maybe that's just hey. So, like, what I mean, right, when you come to like sowing the seeds and whatever, you got your strawberry seeds. You could just literally hold down the button and then just leg it back and forth, and it plants all the seeds. In this, it's kind of like shuffle, 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 big glittery throw animation. Shuffle, 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 big glittery throw animation. Shuffle, shuffle. Every single thing you do is a deliberate animation that is non-skippable, and it's like clunk, chop. Everything seems robotic, and that slows things down at the beginning of the game. Yeah. Eventually, you can upgrade your tools so you can like. When you water the plants or whatever, you can do three squares at once because everything's on a tile-based system. But still, it's like charge up, water.
Right.
Stardew, it feels like a lot smoother. I think like that's such a stupid thing to say.
No. It's totally those little split second things are absolutely fucking huge, and it's like. It's the difference between a game that feels a little bit floaty, especially in like combat and stuff like that. I guess I was talking about Tsushima and Assassin's Creed. Tsushima is like a really fast kind of got a snap to it. Assassin's Creed just doesn't have that. Not now, anyway. No. It feels like a bit more of a
you just.
I know exactly.
And for this, these simple actions like, hoeing. For example, you do this a million times. Literally, you wake up every single morning, you chop down 5 trees. The speed in which the weeds grow on your farm is so fast as well, man. Like, every day, give it a fucking break. I've used half my energy just cleaning my farm, and watering the plants and that. So until you get sprinklers, you're spending a lot of time doing these manual button presses. Other players that I know who also had the game early, other content creators that had it, have said that they all felt that there's a real big problem with loading screens because nearly everything has a loading screen. When you go in from your farm to the town, loading screen. Into the cave, loading screen. Down a floor in the cave, loading screen. And if you've played Stardew, you'll know that when you go out of the town, no loading screens. It's like a seamless thing. So the loading screens are kind of I didn't really find them that problematic, but people were complaining. Speaking of, the reason I said problematic is probably a bit of a subconscious thing, and I'll tell you why. Because you can play the game as regular, but you can also go in first person to take photos of things,
right?
Which is great. You can say, you wonder where this is going, aren't you? You can take photos of your bovine friends and your pet cat and a fox's anus.
Doing some hoeing, take a photo.
Exactly. So the loading screen is made up of pictures taken by the community. So it's like literally the non-existent cleavage of your female compatriots or a fox's anus. I can't stress that enough. In a game meant for that, and it's just a bit, guys. It's like trying to turn Sesame Street sexual. Like, you know what I mean? Just like, it's not even funny. It's just juvenile, stupid. And that was before
they're not like moderated or something.
This was a month before the public even had the game. So which fucking dickhead is doing that? Probably some ASMR streamer or something. But that was the people who were like the fucking, so I'm thinking, anyway.
They were the influencers, mate.
This is what I'm saying.
It's all their fault. It's all their fault.
Exactly. Instagram influencers very, very comfortable with taking pictures of their own cheeks and it. So I've got it's. I would recommend the game, like especially if you're not really that familiar with it. Like my recommendation would be this: if you've played Animal Crossing and you're getting a bit bored now because it's been a year and you want to move on, and you've played Stardew Valley but you want 3D graphics because it seems a bit weird. Some people don't like how Stardew looks. Get this. If you play Stardew and you're absolutely desperate for more like this, but with different stuff, I would also get it. I would give it a recommend. You have to be into farming games to like it. I don't think Mike you'd even give it more than an hour. Liam would like it. So if you're into this sort of thing, it does not disappoint. So that's what I'd say about it. But I've had a lot of fun.
I like games in which you build farms, like Stronghold and Age of Empires and stuff like that.
Yes. Only if it's one click and then somebody goes, "Sire!" afterwards.
Yeah. And they say things like more wood is needed and things like that before you try and build it.
Can I go here? I mean. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's really nice that we've managed to play it with Ellie, in that way though, where it's not just like a Lego Star Wars or something where you're like jumping in and fucking messing around doing a level. You're actually like,
that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. So when we're playing Stardew, we're both in bed or whatever, and we have Netflix on, there's some background noise, and we're both in the same farm. But then this time, we're both on our little stuff, and she's like leaning over and going, "Oh, look, if you go here, da da da." Yeah. It's nice. It's nice
that's what I mean. There's like a depth to it, which is cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this week is the week of Outriders, which we have talked about. We played it a little bit because there's been a demo. It's actually coming out in full tomorrow on, just the consoles, and I don't know, is it on Stadia?
It's on PC.
Yeah. Stadia. Yeah. Let's see. They they confirmed in July 2020. Oh. The RPG shooter has been slated as arriving later in 2021. So there we go. That means no, it's not coming to Stadia. Stadia will be dead by August. So
that's why we're delaying it until Stadia.
Yeah.
So we've that's the only big release really that we've had a look at. I think I'm really in two minds about it because on paper I should like it. I should, I like that genre. I like the games that it's heavily borrowing off, but I didn't really get much out of the demo. I mean, have you guys seen much more conversation about it online and stuff? I mean, is there any more? Because I don't think it's like died. I still feel like it's there.
Wow,
people are playing it.
I
think so.
Yeah. So yeah, Liam, what have you seen about it? And I'll tell you what I've seen.
I've seen loads actually. Like a lot of people. Well, I don't know if it's a lot or it's just like the forums I frequent or something, or just reading on Reddit. But the reception to it is basically the complete opposite reaction of what I had, where I was like, nah, I don't like this, not for me. I go online and I was reading like impressions of it, and people were like, best, looter shooter I've played since Borderlands 1 and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, right. Okay. So, it seems to be, there's like a really positive reception to it from what I've noticed. And it's still in the top sellers on Steam. And it has been since that demo came out like a month ago. It's been constantly in the top grossing on Steam, and I think Xbox Live pre-orders, it was in the top 10 as well. It's mad. Like, it's been ages since I've had like a disconnect from a game like this, where how I personally feel about the game is so far removed from like what general consensus of the game is. It feels like a bit alien to me, but I'm not gonna like.
That's the marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the children who are wrong. Yeah, that kind of feeling.
Yeah, it is that feeling. But like, I'm not gonna begrudge anyone who wants to play this game, or they like this game. Personally, it's not for me. But I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit on Reddit going like, oh, you're a bunch of fucking morons, just because they like the game. I'm just gonna be like, cool guys, hope you like it, but see ya. That's gonna be my involvement with the game, unless if it comes, like, it's already been announced it's coming to Game Pass for Xbox anyway, for the Xbox Series and last gen Xboxes. If it comes to PC or whatever on Game Pass, I'll install it and give it a go, but I don't think I'm going to part with 50 quid for it.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's a lot of money, isn't it? If you're not sure, and you've had a chance to actually play it, and that it's not for you. Maybe it would be different if you had. That's where a demo is always a bit of a risk for people. That's why they've kind of died out in a certain sense. Especially kind of the last 10 years, anyway.
Because it's harder to lie to people when they've played the game themselves.
It just puts people off it, doesn't it? It's like, imagine how many fucking TV shows and movies or whatever where you see the first half an hour, and a lot of people make their minds up in that half an hour and decide not to carry on with the rest of it. And with games, it's not always a demo is best when it's kind of helping you discover something new. But when it's something like this where you already know what a looter shooter is, you already know what games it's kind of it's influenced by, it has to like persuade you that it's as good as Mass Effect and Gears of War and Destiny, if you've been playing that recently, and like Borderlands, like you said, Liam. But I'm so desperate to play Mass Effect, the Mass Effect, the Legendary or whatever, the new Mass Effect trilogy, remake, remaster thing. That is what is making me kind of fancy this, just as like a holdover. And I've got a new like gaming PC at the moment, and I haven't really had anything new to just smash on it. I've just been playing fucking Total War and shit on it, and I've got Cyberpunk, which I've kind of dabbled in, but it really hasn't grabbed me. So I do want to play something big and meaty on it. So. Is that Outriders? I don't know, but it's the only thing on the horizon at the moment.
It's got 59,000 viewers right now on Twitch, which is my main metric of how I gauge if a game's doing well or not. Right. They have spent a fucking bomb, right? Obviously, my Twitter is like my main social media, and for work or whatever, I follow mostly content creators, like 90% of everyone who I follow. My entire timeline is flooded with like it's very cyberpunk. It is very cyberpunk how it's they're getting whiskey glasses, hoodies, caps, bags, wooden boxes where inside branded flick knives. I've made that up. But the point is that I haven't seen as much tat since cyberpunk, and I am now using that as a metric of you're trying to buy my love sort of thing. So I think it was a really cool move that. They've taken out the kind of guessing game with Game Pass. Not sure whose move that was, or they sensed that the game wasn't going to do well, and Xbox said, "Look, we'll give you a lot of money." But I have a code on PlayStation 5, but if there's no crossplay, I'm never going to play it. It's going to be an Anthem job, isn't it? So I'll download it overnight on the Xbox, and then I think there's crossplay with PC and Xbox, so we can play together. But honestly, I really didn't like it when I played the beta.
Neither did I. I didn't enjoy it at all when I just came clean off it, and we all had the same reaction as far as I'm concerned. When we were talking about it, we were all on exactly the same page.
Yeah.
So. But like I said, I'm desperate for.
That's what's kind of sad, isn't it? It's like I've noticed that Outriders, like a lot of people online, were kind of like, this is kind of shit, actually. Who I saw, and now it's like, well, desperation's come clawing back. And they're like, well, I guess we better play something, guys. They're kind of hungry for.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's like from what I've been seeing now, like people who've played the demo and didn't like it, they're done with it. But the people who are praising it, maybe they're the ones who've already like bought into it, and they're the ones invested into it, because everyone else has just been like, nah, not for me, going now. And then all the people left over, the ones who are excited for it.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, is kind of exactly what you get with Destiny, and exactly what you get with Destiny. On a bigger scale, maybe you just kind of have a bigger crowd of players who think Destiny is like, especially when it came out. But there was loads of people who were saying, "Well, what is this? This is just crap. This is the same shooting, but copy and pasted over and over again. There's nothing here." I think it's just the nature of that kind of shooting live service game with abilities, and it's the nature of it, isn't it?
Yeah, the kind of, I don't know, the good thing about all this shit is, like Destiny and like No Man's Sky that we've seen today, it's not over, is it? When it's out, they got a chance to turn it around. They could completely, and with a game like this, it could be that they add another class. I think there's 3 classes at the moment. Add another class. Depends on how they monetize it and shit, but. Could be tweaks to the tutorial. It could be, anything to just bring you on board in a slightly better way or something. I don't know, but those changes all add up, don't they? Exactly that. So I don't know. I might give it a go. There's I don't know how we're going to do this. I should have probably said this before we were actually recording a podcast, but we normally do the games that are coming up in the week, innit? But now we're like on a Wednesday. So
but a load of them come out on Thursday and Friday, don't they? So it's actually perfect.
Can I talk to you about a game that I saw that I didn't even know was coming out? Because I've been focused on Disco Elysium for work, obviously. So all my attention's on there. And anyway, I'm on the Steam front page yesterday, sorting some stuff out. And I see this game banner, Evil Genius 2. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, slyly, like, that's done well on Steam. It was the second most watched game on Steam yesterday. To Disco Elysium, but it was very, very, very good impressions of what I saw. So I look at the trailer and I'm like, yeah, this looks fucking well good. Have you seen it? It's it looks well good, man. I didn't even know it was coming out. I really didn't even know it was coming out.
Yeah, it's one of the. I think there's a lot of games. I love that kind of management. I love like Tropico and. All that kind of Planet Coaster, anything that involves. I don't know why, but especially when it's done in a good, I don't know, with good humor, good spirits. They do it in like a nice and light way. It really adds a lot to it.
Yeah, I might be checking it out for the next podcast. I think because I do fancy, and again, like I mentioned that I've been playing New World, and I will continue to be playing that because there was a server wipe yesterday, so I've started again, and. I feel like all of the things that you get from playing an MMO, without talking specifically any MMO, guys, you would get from playing Outriders. A skill tree, progression, a character, an open world, a story. Any MMO offers that. So if I wanted to get those things, I could play any MMO I wanted. So you see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to... I don't know if I'll bother with Outriders unless you guys say it's good. Because, as well... I might want a bit of space. And if I want a bit of space, and I'm not talking about socially distant stuff, I'm talking about the stars, where can I go? No Man's Sky.
Of course.
There's been a big fat patch, hasn't there?
Yeah. So this is, I I mean, it just catches your attention straight away for us because we haven't actually played it together, really, at all, have we?
I don't think ever. No.
No. So, and obviously, there's been multiplayer, and online is as much a part of it as anything. It's a huge characteristic of the game now. Is it's an online game, and multiplayer is huge. But now this new patch that they've just revealed today, which is Wednesday. It's a 2-minute trailer, if that, showing the expeditions feature, which is which really takes it into the realm of being an MMO, and you can start on a planet with your friends, which is a huge, and that to us is like, oh, okay, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should give it a spin. Like, let's just jump on a planet and see what happens.
Our planet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's creepy. I mean, I don't want to be on a planet anymore.
All right.
It's yeah, I don't know. It's just, and it's out of the blue as well. There's it is for me, but I know if you're a No Man's Sky fan, you've seen Sean Murray tweeting a fucking emoji about 10 days ago, and you've been absolutely, you've been very excited for a long time waiting for this. If you notice that, Sean Murray just tweets some shit. He loves it, man. I love this dynamic that
he can't help it. No, that's what it is. He's literally crack addict of it. Not literally crack addict,
but it's a really nice, I think, because the fans and him on Twitter have got this relationship now, where he is playing up to it, and he's doing little weird eye emojis and shit like that, and then people are like, oh my god, he's tweeted some eyes. He's tweeted some eyes. What's happening? There's something coming. And there's theories on the subreddit and stuff like that for fucking days.
Isn't there? Yeah,
it's great. It's good fun. I think because it's beyond the it's beyond the point of marketing. Even then, it's just a good bit of fucking community.
Yeah, exactly. Just a good community relations sort of stuff. Yeah. He's doing well, but there's literally time limited rewards, events that happen on weekends connected to,
very MMO.
Very MMO. Like, it is becoming an MMO. Mike said about 3 years ago it'll be an MMO at this rate, and here it is. It's this point. Do you know what? The only thing we are away from any MMO is a skill tree, and when we've got a skill tree, when each of you got a skill tree, you've got classes, and when you've got classes, you've got an MMO. That's essentially all we're missing from this being an MMO, right? So it's crazy to watch the game just develop and develop and develop. I'm going to download the game and start again and get bored of the crafting after I've done the first planet jump and then build my base. And then that's the part where the last 3 times I've played it, I've gone, no, you're all right. I don't want to build the base. And I know that will happen again.
The base stuff is bad. I've been playing it on PC. Is one of the games I've been trying to play on my PC. It's phenomenal on PC, and it makes a lot of sense on PC because the crafting is that much quicker, and the moving a stupid cursor around to
all
that is a lot quicker, right? So it's a lot better. But the intro is still kind of built it needs to be changed, I think. And I hate doing this thing of the fans. They're changing it for the fans because the fans saying, "Oh, you should change this." But I think that is one I would really appreciate if the intro was kind of tweaked to be more about the exploration at the beginning than the crafting. Because at the moment, it's oh, you're on a strange planet. You're dying straight away.
More Meridium.
Yeah, you're dying. And then sort that out. Once you sorted that out, you got a crashed ship. Okay, that's pretty exciting. Let's fix the ship up. All right, get up into space. Go on, lad. You got the ship fixed. Go on, get up into space. Get back down. Build a base. Build a base.
Space, right? The final frontier.
Yeah. And then it's up. But don't go too far because you need to build a little base out of cardboard.
Yeah. You need to build an igloo before you go.
It's just weird.
Yeah. It's kind of losing sight of that exploration thing. Yeah. The one thing that I did like about this expeditions patch is that what you get when you complete milestones is a patch, which as a dad reminds me of hit CBBC show Hey Dougie. But if you're not a dad, I guess you could say the Cub Scouts, little hand embroidered little badge. Which is cute, like a little. You've gone on the next position, you've got a badge. I like that. I thought that was kind of reminiscent of the old direction that they used to be taking.
Yeah.
So
at least maybe it's a sign that is going to become the focus. And I think, there probably was a period, because obviously it is evolving, and there probably was a period maybe 18 months ago or 2 years ago where building and crafting was like, that's what people really wanted. People really wanted to be able to build more stuff and complicated things and huge bases and shit like that. And maybe that's moved on a little bit now to where the base is like, yeah, that's cool. That's nice that we've got that. But people don't come to No Man's Sky to build bases. They come to No Man's Sky to explore the universe. So anyway, that's nothing that we haven't said 100 times before. And that was it. That was the first ever Special Moves podcast. Special Moves 1. Hope you enjoyed it.
Special Moves next.
I need more Lucozade. We're going to have a little break and then record the bonus podcast for patrons. We didn't read any emails out this week, but if you want to send them in, the address is still dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. That's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com, and hopefully we'll have one or two in the next podcast. Until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.